Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We always could spot a friend. Welcome back. And I smile when I think how you must have been.
Welcome back to the This Is Me series, a chance to get to know each other about the important subjects and matters of our lives, and for me to get to interact with all of you out there. So the two topics that I've been asked to speak about today are pets, what I've had growing up, and kind of how we came about that, and also mysterious or unexplainable events and experiences that I've had while being a pastor and a chaplain for a couple months over the summertime. So for the topic of pets, I grew up when I was 2 years old, having lots of cats at the house that I originally lived in before we moved. So we had at least two male cats who were very outdoor cats, Pepper and Jet. And they knew how to look across the busy street without getting hit, which is very talented for a cat. And also we had Brandy, who was a mom of a big litter. And so when we moved between the years of age 2 and 3, we got rid of our cats. We had them adopted, or somebody took care of them. As we moved into our new house, my sisters and I, when we'd go down to the Gulf Coast, especially to Gulf Shores and to Biloxi, Mississippi, we would get hermit crabs, beg our parents. So we'd each get a handful of hermit crabs and, all the variety of shells you can come with that and accessories. So we did hermit crabs for quite a few years, just picking them up and hopefully having them come out on the carpet and play with each other and just being kind of silly. Then after the hermit crab stage, my sister Sarah and I both asked for newts, like a lizard or salamander. So we each had gotten one newt 2 different times, so 2 years back to back. So my first newt was named King Kong, because he was quite big. And then when King Kong passed away, then I got another one called Big Guy, kind of the same concept of being a large newt. So, and then we had Lily, who we have currently now as our golden doodle. So kind of tying in with pets and the mysterious or out of ordinary events. So when we had hermit crab, my sisters and I, we had a hermit crab that we thought had passed away. So we buried the hermit crab in our backed trellis garden or landscaping. And I believe about a month later that the hermit crab, we saw something crawling on the ground in the dirt, and we thought it was a big spider, but it turned out it was the hermit crab that we had buried, and we then called it Resurrection Garden, kind of as a joking name. But the hermit crab came back, and we quickly found a shell for it and put it in its enclosure. And we were so overjoyed that it came back, but that was a little crazy to happen. And also another time we had, I don't remember whose newt it was, whether mine or my sister's, but we had our newts up on a tall bookshelf inside their tank, and the water was probably about 4 or 5 inches from the top of the tank. But one day we noticed that one of the newts was missing, and we searched for it. We probably spent a couple hours looking in the living room for it, but couldn't find the newt. And then one of us was watching TV downstairs, and out of the corner of our eye, we saw something crawling across the floor. Again, we thought it was a spider or an insect, but here it was. It was the newt who had managed to escape somehow and was now crawling on the floor, and we quickly scooped it up with a net and put it back in its enclosure, and it was fine and lived a long life after that. So that was kind of the pets out of the ordinary thing. But as a pastor, I'm often asked in new situations, what are some strange and mysterious things that have occurred in my life, whether in a church or in going to someone's home. So I've had a couple experience happen to me. When I was a chaplain over the summer before I was ordained, doing a program called Clinical Pastoral Education, or CPE, which pastors have to either go in a nursing home or a hospital or find other programs that have credentials for it. I had a gentleman who came in who had a heart attack, who was being stabilized in the emergency room, and then became a much bigger situation once tests were done. So anyway, the gentleman and his family, the gentleman was medically induced so they could provide care before surgery, but needed to hear from the family what to do, as they were the next in line to make those decisions. So what happened to the gentleman was he had to have a quadruple bypass surgery and have some stents put in, and also have 2 valves put in from animals, either a pig or a cow. But the mysterious thing that happened was right before the surgery, I was asked to pray for the medical team and the surgery and just the best outcome, because it was a very risky and long surgery. So I was holding one of the family members' hands, I think his son, and my right hand was holding the man, the patient, who was now in a coma. So as we were praying, when I'd say the person's name, they squeezed my hand. And I didn't say anything to the family until after he was in surgery. I didn't really think much of it. But when the surgery was over, it was a successful surgery, and the man came to. I asked him if he remembered that moment, and he said, I just remember hearing somebody call my name, and everything else was a blur. He said, all I heard was a name being called, and I didn't remember even having somebody hold my hand, but he squeezed it as hearing his hand or his name called. And he was a little suspicious of me in the first place when he was conscious, because he was Catholic, had never really been exposed to Protestants. So he kind of jokingly said that for a Protestant, that I had a lot of power in prayer, and that he must have some other meaning to be more accepting of Protestants. So when the man was in a coma, he squeezed my hand and heard my voice calling him, not knowing who I was or what was going on. But that was a very powerful moment. I had another situation where at the hospital, I was taking over a case of a woman who tried to commit suicide, unfortunately, and she stepped in front of a commuter train, and survived. That was the amazing part about it. But that she was able to make what I would call a full recovery, that she didn't have any memories of the situation about being on the tracks or the train coming at her, but I believe she was in the hospital for over a year, but she made a recovery, so she had to walk with a cane and had a little bit of lapse in memory, but she made a miraculous and successful outcome from what could have been a very sad and overwhelming situation. So those are kind of the 2 topics for today, about having pets and what they were, some of their stories about them, and also some miraculous or out of the ordinary events or experiences in my life with being a pastor. So I'd love to hear from you about what pets you've had and what kind of animals they were, or reptiles, whatever they may be, and also some out of the ordinary or kind of thin space moments where heaven and earth seem to disappear. So thank you for joining me for this moment that we can share together. May it be so.